Hi, my name is Rachel, and I'm 34 years old. I'm a librarian in North Carolina, and the other night I was driving back home at around 2 a.m. You know, the best ideas come at 2 a.m., so I wanted to try and do a video of my therapy journey. Um, I don't know if this will reach anybody or if anybody else will benefit from it, but I think it will help me, and if it helps somebody else too, that would be great. Um, I feel like this is important because a lot of therapy that at least I've seen portrayed, especially on media like TV and movies, show either an extreme, like what I'm sorry, the patient is extreme or the therapist is extreme. Like there's a movie somewhere with Blake Lively in it, and her therapist hypnotizes her, and she can't remember what happens at certain times, or like the patient's like a serial killer or something, or they come in with an extreme issue or what would be considered extreme. And I feel like a lot of people don't go to therapy because they're scared that their issues won't seem big compared to others. I know I had a fear of that when I started therapy, and honestly, I still have a fear of it today. But a good therapist will help you with those fears and walk you through it. Now, before I go any further, I just want to say I am not a licensed mental health care anything. I took one psychology class in college, and that was enough for me. But I have had therapy for a number of years on and off, and I just kind of want to share my story. Maybe it will help somebody. Um, I remember that I was in therapy, and one of my current therapists, because I see two, because woo, uh, I'll get to that at a different video. But Laura, I have been seeing her for a while, and I have been complaining, not complaining, but like work just felt so overwhelming. And I had just become like a branch manager at my library, and I'd hired this one person over two of my friends who also work for me, and it was just a very difficult time. And I remember she looked at me and she's like, Rachel, do you think everybody struggles with work like this? And I was like, yeah, of course. Guess what? They don't. So that was kind of shocking. So even whatever your problems are, like they are worth talking, in my opinion, to a therapist about and voicing, because even the smallest problems can grow and like eat at you, and there's no real hierarchy on problems or why you should or shouldn't go to therapy. I've learned that over the years, and like I said, I still struggle with it. Laura, my therapist, made me feel better because I felt like I was wasting her time seeing her. And this is recent, and she she gave it to me like more in a less in an emotional way. She said the way she judges if she still needs to see me is if she can, if it's medically necessary. So if I'm still working on meeting the goals that we set at the beginning of the session, or if like I'm still struggling a lot in certain areas. So that's one way therapists determine whether you need to keep seeing them or not, and that just helped my brain be like, oh, she, you know, maybe she doesn't hate me. Um, Also, another quick thing, I have chinchillas and five cats, and the chinchillas are loud, and the cats will jump up here at some point. Um, so just ignore that. Um, but technically, my first, well, it wasn't really therapy. When I was like in fourth or fifth grade, apparently I said I didn't like school. And I've always liked school, so my mom found that concerning and sent me to the guidance counselor at school. And all that did was teach me not to be open about how I'm really feeling because it gets taken to the extreme. Not a great lesson to learn. Um, but then, like, between, like, in eighth grade through my senior year of high school, a lot of things happened. Like, both of my parents had, like, life. I don't know if life altering surgeries are the right thing, but they both had, like, major surgeries. And my mom almost died, and then my dad had to be out of work, and we were just struggling with money and food and like everything at the time, paying bills. And but I still went to college. I of course chose a really expensive college, which yay, school debt. But it was also a really good college, and I really enjoyed it. And it was a small college. So that was nice, and the classes stuff were small, and I felt like I learned a lot. But I was still struggling with depression, both left over from high school, and then it really escalated in college. I was brought up in a religious family, and I feel like I had always been surrounded by Christianity my whole life, and the college I went to was very liberal and not at all what I was used to, which is great. It opened my mind so much, and I'm really glad for the experiences. But also, I found it very alienating at some points. Um, so my mom had wanted me to get a job during the summers because, quote, it was more expensive when I was home. So I was trying to get a job, and I had an interview lined up. I think it was a phone interview, and my mom called and said it was a scam, and just made me feel really, really bad and really low. And, and that's the day I started like self harming. Um, and I self harm on and off for about 10 years. My first experience with an actual therapist was in college. I think I went to one my sophomore year, and I went to one at the college I was at and got really pissed off. Um, she immediately like related everything back to my parents and whatever, and I had just met her that day. Like, she didn't know anything about me except that I self harmed. And I did not like that. It made me angry, it made me defensive. We didn't have a rapport that was built up for me to accept what she was saying, so I just never went back. And I guess she wasn't too concerned because she never checked up that I can remember. So that was my first experience with therapy. It did not go very well. And honestly, when I did therapy later, I had a therapist I really liked, and then my insurance changed, and I had to go to a different therapist. And she and I, like, she helped me, but we didn't really have a good. It wasn't a bad relationship. It's just like we didn't mesh together very well. So it took me a while to find the right therapist, and that's a long story. But now I have two great therapists actually, Laura and Lauren, just to make things confusing, and I talk to them about different stuff. Like, Laura is very good with CBT and DBT skills, which is cognitive behavioral therapy and dialectical behavioral therapy, and Lauren focuses more on like trauma and like my history and my past, and I just blab and word vomit when I see her. Um, there's all kinds of different therapists out there, and even if your first experience isn't great, there are good ones out there, and there are ways to find them, which I'll talk about a little in my next video. But a good therapist will make you feel safe in the space and build that rapport with you. They also won't make you feel judged, and they make it feel like it's okay to tell them things. I would say don't trust your therapist right off the bat. At least not with everything. There needs to be time to build the rapport between y'all. Or maybe that's just me, because I have trust issues. So maybe you don't. Maybe it's okay to just tell them everything, but it's also okay if you don't. Because the more comfortable you feel with them, it will end up coming out at the end or in a future session. And a good therapist is patient with you, I feel like, and just works with you and tries to understand. Like, Laura knows my brain very well. It's scary. Like, she knows when I have something more to say or when I'm thinking internally, because we've worked together for a few years, and she's just learned how I think. And it's kind of scary, but it's kind of cool because she can kind of like, she doesn't obviously know what I'm thinking, but she can read me well enough to push me in one direction, or probably a little more sometimes. So the right therapist is very important in your therapy journey, and sometimes it can take a while to find it. Anyway, this is the beginning of my therapy journey, I guess, and just some background on me, and hopefully I'll make more videos that make more sense. I didn't type up a list or timeline or anything because I want these videos to be more raw and just come from what I'm feeling at the time. I feel like those will be more meaningful, at least to me. So I'll continue in the next episode.